Welcome back to Gemstone Podcast. I'm your host with my co-host. We're excited for another episode today with you guys. We have been on a small hiatus, so we'll give you guys some updates here in a second what we've been working on. But first, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this podcast. All right, guys. So we're back. It's been a minute, so let's update everybody what we've been working on, what we've been doing, because I know we got some big updates as far as what we're doing for the podcast as well. So, Sean, Zach, go ahead.
What it do, baby? We finally back. We had a little hiatus, had to take a little break, had to get a little recuperating so we can come back stronger than ever. You know, your boy had a birthday, so if you didn't tell me happy birthday, it's your time to reach into the chat and tell us happy birthday right now. Secondly, for the podcast, we've been doing some real big things. Shy, you want to tell them where we at right now, where they can come?
You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to us on Amazon. You can listen to us on Spotify. Am I missing one?
I think we on Amazon podcast too.
Yes, sir, we is. And on Amazon Podcast as well. All big three, you can hit us at.
So we've been getting everything ready for the podcast, but also we've been getting a lot of things done in life. I know we got a lot of moving pieces individually that we're working on individually as far as careers, life, just advancing, getting closer to God, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I know for me, man, this has been a journey. I recently finished my doctoral degree back in October, so I've been really just hitting the ground running, working on some things. I had the opportunity to write an article on LinkedIn about leadership, my reflection up on that, and I'm working on a now with some other scholars that's been in the game for a minute. So it's just been a lot going on for me.
Right. Yes. And as for me, I just been working on a few things. Turning my new place into a home. So I've been enjoying doing that. I'm working on a few things because of that's how you say it, unforeseen circumstances. But I'll tell y'all about that later, like maybe in the summertime. But yeah, so I'm working on a few things. I'm illegal with this message. Sometimes God will put you in a place where you have to do something that you were supposed to do, right? Something that you were meant to do anyways, but sometimes some things have to end, things have to get put out there, and sometimes you have to be pushed to those things instead of you willingly doing it on your own. So that's a season of what I'm going through.
Hey, shout out was deep. You said sometimes God will put you in a place or in a situation to make you do some things you're supposed to do. That what you said?
Yeah. Sometimes God will put you in a situation where you have no choice but to do what you were already supposed to be doing.
Man, that's deep right there. I ain't gonna lie, that's deep.
Look like the White House said today, let it cook. Yes, they posted a picture of Trump and they put Gorilla on their caption and said, let him cook.
With that being said, we're gonna hop on right onto my little topic then. We're gonna skip all my introductions. I told you my birthday, so I was chilling, having fun, having a damn ball. If you don't believe me, you should have seen my Instagram. But with the Trumps having the ball, man, I think we talked about this probably we talked about the last podcast, didn't we? The last episode where we were talking about the tariffs and everything. So I told you short term is going to be crazy. Long term could be good for us. But short term, if you have been doing what you're supposed to do, doing some studying and figuring out what's going on, they have been manipulating these stock markets like nobody's business. And this is a time for you to make some money and get rich. You need to learn what you need to be doing for stock markets and everything. Because boy, when the stock market drops $90 in a week and then shoots up $40 in one day, it's a monopoly, baby. It's everybody making money, so everything they do is for a reason. Please believe that it's always gonna be for a reason. Nothing they do is gonna be just out there to do it. The reason is this: they want better tariffs because China is running everything when it comes to exports. They want to make our dollars a little bit cheaper so we can start supplying more information and supplying more supplies everywhere. That's the goal of bringing everything supposedly back to America, making stuff where it's American shipped out, American made stuff. Because if you always look, and we always notice, if we look and buy anything, everything we got don't say nothing on there says American made. Everything is Vietnam, Chinese, Mexico, whatever, it ain't America. The only few things we make in America is a little bit of guns. I'm sorry, that was out of line. It's crazy to see this. And I want to ask you two, how has it been? Do you think it's been affecting you guys this short term since the tariffs war or this little tariff cold war has been happening with China and everybody else?
So I would say for me, no, not at this point. It has not affected me. For one, like you said, we get a lot of things from China and different places, right? But I have made a conscious decision not to order anything just because I'm scaling back on my spending. So I had ordered something around the early of the year, but I was like, this is it. Like I'm not ordering anything for probably a few months. It hasn't affected me. I know all the girlies out there, we order from Shein, we order from DHgate, we order from whoever, right? And with ordering from these different companies that are located in China or located in Taiwan, all these other places, if you haven't noticed, a lot of the stuff on Shein has went up, Fashion Nova has went up, Pretty Little Thing has went up. So I just made it. I haven't been ordering nothing. Like I've been sticking to what I got right now. So no, it hasn't really affected me in that type of way. Now I will say I am getting into learning how to stock trade and how to, get into that whole trading world. So we'll see if it affects me soon. But not as of right.
Well, that's what I say for me. Because I got Robin Hood. That's what I do my stock exchange at. I ain't gonna say my stocks, but they've been hitting me. They've been hitting me. They've been hitting me bad. They've been hitting me bad. I ain't really made no money. So yeah, man. This tariffs, man. I kind of don't want to talk about because everything's so high. Last podcast we had said what I said. It's gonna get hard. A lot of people gonna get hurt. People gonna go without, and it's happening. I mean, yeah. I'm gonna say, yeah, man. Yeah, man. It is hard. Everything going up, but my check. I know people that get 2 or 3 checks and they struggle. It's rough out here, man. This is
Preach, brother, preach. God dang it, my check need to go on up.
it's and it's like we're transcending. It's like the American power, because America, the United States of America, is considered one of the superpowers as a country. But it's like we're in a decline, man. We are declining. Our economic stability is, yeah. When the last time you went to the grocery store and you didn't spend over $100?
Okay, I will say now, y'all. I went last time I got groceries was almost 2 weeks ago. I went to Aldi, and I got my total was $100.35. But I'm a one person household, so that those groceries lasted me like almost to this week. So we'll say that now I have.
I I just think this, man, because it's I mean, I got kids, so going to the grocery store is, you gotta get snacks, chips, juice, fruit, breakfast food, because you don't want to cook every morning for somebody. And it's not one time I done went. And I mean, where I have a basket where the bottom where all of the wires are covered and it's under $100. I could just have a few things, $89, 101, 105. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. This came up, man. Is Yeah, man. It's yeah.
I fully agree with you right now, brother, because I remember a time, probably less than a couple of months ago, I used to go buy a whole month's worth of food, Now I buy food for the week, for the 2 weeks, to make the check stretch it a little bit further, because every time I turn around, eggs done hit $6, milk done went to $7. A little bit of exaggeration in the milk probably, but just everything keep going on up and up and up. And it's just like, damn, you used to go to the grocery store, spend about $10, $15, and you could have made a meal for the whole week. Now I go there and I'm spending that on just some meat in the United States.
That is very true.
Just to chime in on what the grocery stuff is, the little hot take that's going on right now with Texas getting ready to take the chips and sodas off of food stamps is wild. You want to take the one thing that the kids eat on the food stamps off the food stamps?
Did you see where they cut the funding? They cut the funding they cut like I think it was 80 million dollars or something like that for the food bank to distribute food to the communities.
No, I did not see that, but that's going to be huge because the food banks in Houston is outrageous, bro. They have so much good food. They have so much food that they supply to the community, and it's so many of them. So to cut that is going to be really trash. You're going to be giving people like really old stuff.
Well, y'all knew they were gonna cut that anyways because that go right along with the cut for the education system. It's not the same department, but it's like it's always a segue. The same thing happened during the prior to the pandemic. This is all this stuff repeating itself. They cut that budget in half. The kids was eating worse and worse food at the schools. They wasn't really getting no balanced meals. And then they got all the money from the pandemic hit. They got all that extra funds. They sent out stimulus check. They lined their own pockets and they gave people extra food stamps. So all the money that they took from people, they ended up rerouting the money, of course, to their pockets as well, but they ended up giving more food stamps.
My thing is this though. We doing all these budget cuts in our federal republic. And I ain't trying to be funny. But it seems like everything that benefits the people is being cut. Food banks, research, and education. I'm not gonna say I get the Trump's administration's standpoint or perspectives around the Department of Education, because I mean there is some unethical practices that happen in the Department of Education for sure. But the cut to funding is crazy because education is the foundation for everything that we do when it comes to career advancement, when it comes to research, when it comes to just anything. Without education, you can't have anything as far as sustainability of any profession or any entity. Uh, Even those who are entrepreneurs and don't have degrees or don't have any like heavy credentials behind their name, they still go through an educational process as learning how to best optimize their organizations or their institutions or their companies' performance to make some type of revenue growth. So I don't. It just seems like to me that it's all these cuts, these millions and trillions and billions of dollars that the administration is cutting. It's all tied into somehow where it serves the people. It's like the support and the resource that people normally are used to having access to, the doors are being shut. And not to mention, our government is imploding on itself. And not to mention, y'all see what Trump and Elon is into it. I told y'all they're gonna get into it behind some money. They got into it about that money. I told you, I said before he gets to the first year, it ain't even before he get his first year in office, him and Elon gonna get into it behind some money. And they already have.
I want to tie in on that education thing. It's easy for you to cut the education because then it makes it goes to privatize. So now all the education becomes privatized. The people that got the money will get the good education. The people that don't got the money will have to do the homeschooling or go to the poor education places, and that makes it more of a benefit for people that's already paying for, privatize education. So it benefits who can afford it and who can do it. But for those that don't can't afford it, it's gonna drop their down, and that's gonna make our whole country where we was already declining in education, we're gonna probably decline even more when we used to be people that were at, or used to be a country where we had education at the top, where we had people competing and doing all these crazy, amazing things in education. Now we're gonna be down there at the very bottom. Hate to say it like this, but like in the third world country kind of way, where only people that can really be at the top are people that can afford it, which are the rich or the wealthy or the people that are in the upper middle class that can afford it or put themselves through so much pain to afford it so their kids can be in a better step, in a better situation.
That's the whole point. They don't want one of the main reasons why Trump his businesses his campaign is successful because people run with what they say and they don't educate themselves. If they say one thing, his base, his fan base, they run with it. So people being less and less educated, that's what they want. They taking all this stuff out of the schools, all this stuff about history, black history, women's history, all those things are being wiped from the school books. There this is it's on purpose why they doing all this. But I mean, honestly and truly though, I saw this take on it's going to I feel like it's going to affect the poor white people the most though because it's just gonna affect them the most because our group of people we've already weathered multiple generations of different tactics against us. They have not. So they're gonna be the most affected. That's why they're panicking now. That's why they're protesting now. That's why they're upset now. Because they're cutting these resources that they get. They get more than we do. The images that black African Americans we get all these different government assistance, blah blah. But it's not. It's yes, we do. Some of us do, but they do get a lot as well. So it's gonna be a lot more protesting and a lot more panicking and a lot of more stuff being stirred up over the next few years.
I agree, but the more detrimental effects, they're going to have lasting, like you said earlier, Zach, like long lasting effects. It's going to be around these policies. It's going to be around these budget cuts, because right now we don't see the effect. Like we read about it, we see people getting laid off, losing their jobs, and we see how DEI is affecting the workplace. But when it comes to long lasting effects, I think we're going to see something really, really bad, because detrimental for sure. Because when it comes to research, when it comes to education, when it comes to just basic resources for the underserved, or just for the community or individuals at all, just American citizens, period. This is where we get to see the effects. And now we're gonna see crime increase. We're gonna see uh individuals not feeling so safe in their communities or their homes. We're about to see, like you said, a third world country. We're about to have the same statistics or some similar statistics, just like a third world country, because everybody's going to be scratching and crawling, just trying to survive. And that's what's going to be happening. It's so sad though, man, because this is what was chosen. Popularity won this election, and jokes and being funny and um not
Celebrity being a
wanting
celebrity.
and not wanting to see change. That's really what it is. Not wanting to see change. The American public still has a hidden prejudice backbone in their back. That's what the foundation of America is. And this is what we get to see. I mean, diversity, equity, and inclusion is encompasses all. If we abolish that and we get rid of that, then guess what? It doesn't encompass all. We get to select or have a privy vantage point of what we deem all. And that might not be everybody. That may be only a few people, maybe all men, maybe all women, maybe all transgenders, whatever. But it affects every demographic of people by abolishing that. And so now we have these silos in the workplace or in the community, because everybody's trying to look out for themselves or look out for their group. And it just it the effects that this has long term is going to really impact social determinants of health in a very negative way. And I can just see every wheel on that SDOH platform or conceptualization being impacted so bad.
Well, let me just add a little something else to that. So, the whole reason why they painted the narrative that they didn't want abortions no more because they didn't want you to kill the babies and Christian beliefs and things like that. But that's not really the real reason. If you look at the statistics, white women are having more abortions in America than anyone. The white race, the I forgot what you call it, and be that race of people is going to be a minority by 2030, by 2035. But we already see that now. Like, we see that now. So they wanted them to stop having abortions because white women are having the most abortions. Hispanic women are not having that many abortions. We can already see that. And black women don't have that many abortions.
Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit of technical difficulties right there, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into the next segment real quick.
My topic for the day is going to be Marvin Moneyman Sapp and the Black Church. So let me throw a disclaimer out there. Before we get into the topic, I've been to Marvin Sapp's church before in Dallas. I think it's in Fort Worth actually, but DFW area. It was a great church. The preaching was great. The singing was great. The feeling was. It was a great church. It was a church I would definitely go to again. So I'm not gonna lie, I was a tad bit disappointed when he did this because I'm like, well, let's get into the topic. So some of you might have seen that Marvin Sapp, gospel award winning, Grammy award winning, mega star in the gospel community. He's a multi-millionaire. He also became the pastor of this particular church in the DFW area. I forgot the name of the church, but he's been the pastor there, I think 6 or 7 years. The founding pastor stepped down, and he was, granted the privilege of being their pastor. So like I said, Grammy Award winning gospel artist, multi-millionaire, I'm assuming. Because he has one of the biggest gospel records in in history. Never would have made it. So, anyways, plenty of endorsement deals. He has commercials, everything that you name, he has. He has books. So yeah, so he was preaching to his congregation. Now, I didn't think he really meant to lock the door, like seriously lock the door. I think he was kind of being a little sarcastic with that. But basically, he had a church service. He wanted his congregation to donate $40,000 for whatever project he was working on, which he never even said what project it was for. But he wanted the congregation to donate this $40,000, and he was saying, "Come on, everybody." He says 1,000 people watching, which he streams online, so that's very, very possible. So he like, if everybody online give me $20, he said, everybody in the church, he said, lock the doors, nobody getting out here. Y'all gonna donate to the church, sow it to the Lord, all that stuff. He said, and that really put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, including mine, because once again, Marvis Sapp is a Grammy Award winning artist. He has money. He's not poor. The church is not poor either. If you want to raise funds for a building, like his church is nice, but if it's not that big, it's not like a mega church, in my opinion. But if you wanted to raise funds for a bigger building or whatever you're trying to achieve, there's better ways to go about it. And so I just feel like, people like him are the reason why, so many Black people, especially millenniums and Gen Zs, are turning away from the Black church because of greed like this. Like we've seen other pastors, including Creflo Dollar. He wanted a private jet. Pastor Keon out here in Houston, the Lighthouse Church, which I like Pastor Keon as well. Like I think he's a great pastor, but he was begging on that. He was at the pulpit begging. And that wasn't cool because you're rich. Keon has multiple books and he has music on Apple Music. He's married to a multi-millionaire. You guys have money. So just to berate the congregation the way they do is just, it's not a good look. Including other pastors, not just the Black churches. We have other pastors. All the pastors that sit on that particular network on that preach. They are money hungry. They beg for money. Joel Osteen, same thing. But Joel Osteen, I will say, I've been in his church before, and his brand of begging is not like these. Like Marvin Sapp was straight up saying, "Give me some money." Joel Osteen, his brand of begging is a little more smooth. It's a little more slick. So but all in all, like the congregation has made y'all rich, which some of y'all already rich. Like I said, Marvin Sapp was already rich before he became the pastor here. So y'all guys are already wealthy, just like Keon. Keon is wealthy already. So just to berate your congregation is really important taste, in my opinion. And like I said, that's another reason why so many people are turning from the Black church and going the more spiritual route, going the more, it's just me and God. I don't need a middleman type of thing, which I do enjoy church. I recently was baptized about 3 weeks ago at my new church. Shout out to the Blueprint Church. I was baptized there. It was great, all that good stuff. But I get why some people are turning away from the church because of things like this. Now, let me say this. Do not allow man and greed and greedy people like Marvin Moneyman Sapp. Do not let these greedy people turn you away from going to church. Yes, don't frequent his church. Do now. Y'all, you seen how this ain't got nothing to do with the topic. We see how Walmart done lost $18 billion since January 1st because of Black folks, not Walmart, Target, because of our Black dollars not walking up in that mud. So do the same thing these greedy pastors. Stop going to their church. I guarantee you, in Marvis Sapp, your congregation, I guarantee you, if 60% of them don't show up for the next month, you will feel that. And you need to. And so I don't think he has apologized. No, he hasn't apologized. He hasn't said anything since that day. And I would say with Marvin Sapp, he does give me the type where, he could. I feel like he's the type of person that could say he could backslap you and say praise the Lord. Like he's that type. He gonna blame the Lord for everything. He gonna say the Lord told him to do it. Everything gonna be the Lord. And them kind of people, they just not to be trusted. But like I said, I enjoyed his church, but I do want them to stop dry begging. But that wasn't even dry begging, just straight up harassing your congregation for money. It's ridiculous. They're gonna donate regardless. You have people online that's donating, people in different countries that watch your church. Same thing with Pastor Keon. Now, Pastor Keon is a mega church. He has like a almost $100,000 congregation. I mean, almost 100,000 people. That's a mega church. That church probably grosses over $1 million per month, even maybe more. So there's no need to do that. Same thing with Marvin Sapp. Your celebrity status, your music, all those things attract people to come to your church. When I was invited to this church, someone told me, "Yeah, I go to Marvis Sapp's church." I said, the gospel singer." She's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, well, I want to go because he a man of God and he sing good." So you don't have to do all that. There's another pastor, TD Jakes, that made a very valid point. He said, "Here's one thing: as a pastor, you need to have multiple avenues." He referenced the scripture, and he said this particular, I think it was Daniel, he had multiple streams of income. So TDJ said, I'm a pastor, I'm a philanthropist, I have a YouTube channel, I have books, I have movies. What else did he have? He had like two or three more things. He said, I have 7 streams of income. I have 7 streams of income. So Marvin said, if you're not made enough money from church, go make an album, go write a book. I think he already has a book. Write another book. Write about healing. His recipes to his wife. She passed away a few years ago from cancer. Write a book about healing and connecting with God. Use your other talents and resources to fund your lifestyle if the church is not funding it well. But just to do what you've done is despicable. I think you should be suspended from church for at least a few Sundays. But yeah, so just to wrap it up, once again, shout out to my new church. It's not a new church, but it's my new church, the Blueprint Church, right here in Houston, Texas. I love the Blueprint. It's a great congregation. We not in there for hours and hours and hours. And also the pastor and the first lady, they're young people my age. I'm in my early 30s. I believe they're in their early 30s, where it's a young congregation. The ushers is young, the choir young. It's we all young folks praising the Lord and putting a whole new look and spin on what it means to be a Christian, what it means to worship. So I love the Blueprint Church. If you in Houston, Texas area, they have 2 services, 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock. So come out to the Blueprint Church. I'll be there for Easter Sunday. And yeah, shout out to the Blueprint. But anyway, what y'all got? What y'all got?
So this is what I say about the Marvin Sapp thing. He went on a radio station or a podcast, is it the radio station or a podcast, and let everyone know that he was not at his home church. He was in Baltimore collecting an offering or raising money or something that the church he was preaching at or performing at asked him to do. He never said lock the doors. He said close the doors. And I'm not defending him by no any means. And he also is a singer. He has a movie. He's a producer. And I think he still is in the music industry. He writes music, still, for other gospel artists. Um, I know he preaches, so he goes around preaching the gospel. So he has an honorarium. That's one. That's two. He does produce this film because he did film producing. And I think he did write something. I don't know for sure. Somebody fact check me. I know Zack, that's your thing. So I think he did write something. It was surrounding his wife when she did pass. Something about grief. I think what the outrage is for a lot of people is that I'll just say this. This is nothing that's like new in churches, specified in the culturally or African American or Black churches. A lot of times you have pastors or evangelists or prophets or whatever title they may have be in the pulpit asking the congregation to give them money, and and you will hear sometimes somebody say or individual say, "Hey, if you give this seed, God's gonna bless you." Or if you do this, God's gonna bless you. And me personally, I don't think that's right because God gonna bless you, God gonna bless you. Now, I do believe that the churches you should give your tithe, you should give some offering because they got bills, you're using their bathroom, drinking their water, getting their air. So I get it. They got to maintain the bills at the church. But I think a lot of times sometimes these churches put on these events, these conferences, and how they are paying these individuals who are coming in. You see, like I'm just now doing speaking engagements, like keynote speaking engagements for things surrounding healthcare, and they pay for my travel and they pay for me to come speak. But the money for that is collected with the registration because obviously you got to do a registration fee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if you want to attend that conference or that event. And then that's how they pay individuals who are coming in and speaking. Church is a little bit different. I think that's how they collect their fees to pay these individuals coming in and speaking. And I just think he used a poor choice of words because he said close the doors. I said close the door. I said, he was a little bit authoritative when he said, I said close the door. You know what I'm saying? Like he should have just been like, hey, close the door. If they didn't close the door, left it alone. But I think him reiterating that and then kind of being authoritative with that, he was a little, it was taken away as if he's shaking them down for this money. And then he did the math. That what ticked me out. He did the math. He said if this many dollars that equals this. And I was like, boy, I needed him back then when I was in school because that boy he's good in that math. But I just think that he used a poor choice of words and he's being crucified for it. This has been something that's done historically in churches for a long period of time. I mean, even the Bible talks about it sometimes about, back then it was sacrificial or offerings. But now our offerings or our sacrificial offerings in this day and age is our money. We don't go up there and bring a lamb or a bison or an oxen for an offering for the churches. Now it's more of a financial sacrifice that we make. But he definitely he definitely used a poor choice of words. And you're correct, he did not apologize. He went on whatever platform that was, explained the situation, and left it at that. But I think wherever he was preaching at in Baltimore or wherever he was at, it was some, but it wasn't in Fort Worth because his church is in Fort Worth on Campus Drive. But it wasn't in Fort Worth, and that church used to be pastored by a different bishop, and then he succeeded. That bishop passed him the mantle many years ago. And matter of fact, he performed, never would have made it at that particular church where he preaches at now in Fort Worth before he released the song, never would have made it. So it's kind of like a full circle for him because that was one of his biggest records, and now he's a pastor at that particular church where where he sung and released that song, where Umbra sung that unreleased song for everyone when he was preaching there. So I just think he used a poor choice of words. That's just my opinion of it. This ain't nothing that ain't been done in church. So that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, well, I might just add, like everything that you just said made it even worse because $40,000 for somebody that got 6 books, got a church check, got a multi-Grammy album, multi-Grammy nominated song, which the song has been sampled several times, including sampled in different genres. It's also on um commercials. He has a few other songs on commercials too. So he getting some checks. So if you was at this church in Baltimore that needed some assistance, why you just didn't give them that $40,000 and write it off on your taxes? Now we know the church people, the church don't, it's not tax or whatever. But you got other avenues, your book money, your whatever other business he may have. I'm sure he has real estate or something like that. Why you ain't write it off with that company and just get them people that money?
So
And
I
somebody
don't.
else pointed out a few things. Marvin Sapp also had on a what $25,000 Rolex on his wrist. He also had on well, I think it was either Gucci or Christian Dior. It was something designer he had on. So his whole outfit in itself was over 50K. So if you care so much, give him that money. Write the money off and go about your business. And if you don't want to donate to this particular church that might need help, just don't show up because I'm sure they paid him to come, or I'm sure they provided him with some kind of flight or something. Just donate the money to them instead of you shaking people over the head for the money.
I don't know if the money was all for him though. That's what I'm getting at.
No,
I'm
it wasn't for
thinking,
him. It's for the church. But
yeah, yeah.
if
Well, no,
you if you rich, give them the money.
I don't know if the church was going to take that money and pay other people too. Like they probably had security, and they probably had real security and real security costs. So I don't know if they had the. I know sometimes when they have big conferences like that at churches, sometimes they pay law enforcement to come do extra policing sometimes.
It
So,
wasn't a big conference though. It was
oh,
literally a service. That's all it was. It wasn't like the loud fest or anything like that. Which that's a
oh,
money grab to them conferences. But it wasn't that. He was literally just preaching at this particular church, and
oh,
the church
oh,
needs something for their building. They need $40,000.
oh. Well, I mean, hey, he ain't gonna donate his money to them people. He ain't gonna, but nah,
All they had to
man.
do was take their Rolex off and hand that to him. And a couple more dollars, he hit that 40.
I don't think I would. I don't even think I would have did that. Yeah, brought me out here to come speak. I'm gonna speak. Y'all asked me to do this. I'm gonna go ahead and try to raise this money for y'all, and I'm gonna go on about my business.
Yeah, I'm not giving you my Rolex. No. What? No. I'm about to do my job. You pay me to come out here and do, and that's it. Now, I will say this. The usher had to shut that door in front of me if I'm trying to get out the church. And this man telling me, shut the door. I'm gonna tell the usher, I know we in church, usher, but do you really want to get you for this man? Let me out the door. I don't got time for you playing with you, dog. Let me out the door. Let me out the door. Shut the door. All right. I'm gonna hit you with a 1-2. You're gonna be wondering what the hell happened. I would have felt some type of way, probably. Not really. I mean, because if you go to a black church, I think if you go to any church, I think it's more so black churches that I see this though. I haven't been to a white church in a while, so I really can't speak on that too much when I say this. But when they be asking for the money, it's always weird, you know. I kind of like how Wheeler does it now. I go to Wheeler Avenue and we ain't gotta do none of that stuff. They put the screen up on the QR code on the screen, send your money through like that, or get the little envelope. I ain't gotta pass no trays and no money and none of that stuff. You just do it like that. Everything digital now, so I kind of like it like that because it's easier. They put it up there for about a good song, take it off. Ain't no hustling with you, no bustling, no none of that. They say, hey, send some money. About to sing this song real quick. If you're good, you're good. If you don't, we'll know you be here next week. Send some money next week or something, you know. Um, I would not have liked it if I was in the church and he was saying stuff like he was saying, like, if you send money, you send money, you send, nigga, you send some money. Got more money than all us up in here. Yeah, I probably would have been ignorant. Oh Lord, I would have been ignorant.
Exactly.
I would have been ignorant. I don't know. Probably would have been ignorant on that one. I'm a holy man, but you know, God's still working on me. You know, he's still working on me. He still got his hand on me. He ain't all the way got me there yet. He got his hand on me. We don't take some things lightly now, nigga. Why you in my pocket? You pocket watching me. Put your money out there. Put the watch out.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, man. But like you said, man, when it comes to being, all three of us are black. We have attended churches and been members of churches as kids and as adults now that are pastored by a black pastor, and they have other black American black pastors come in, and we see this all the time. So to me, like I said, it's not it ain't like it's brand new. It's just that his wording, I think his wording is what got the buzz and that it got because close the door. You know, that I said, you know what I'm saying? It was that I said close the door.
Yeah. He sounded
Like,
like a
what?
pimp and not a pastor. He sounded like a
Like,
gangster up
what?
there.
You said what? Like, no, like just like Shot said, that was like some, like he reached back in his old days, maybe back in the day, he used to be on the block. It's like, hey, bro, I said what I just said. Now don't make me. And so I think that's why it got blown up the way it did, and social media caught on to it the way it did because of him saying, I said, it was that one word that got everybody. If he said close the door, I don't think it would have been blown out of proportion the way it was. Because even to this day, I've seen pastors in this day and age now, even when people are trying to leave and they're doing the benediction, they say, hey, man, hey, close some doors while I'm doing benediction. And, that's that. But I think that him reiterating, I said, is what blew it out of proportion. That's just my opinion. Because, like I said, we've been in, this ain't nothing new to us. It may be new to some other people, some other cultures, but this ain't nothing new to us.
That's very true. And it was definitely within, it was the way he said it. It was given, hey, look, you better have my money. Y'all, I'm dropping y'all on the block tonight at 8 p.m. I'm picking y'all back up at 6 in the morning. All you O's better have my dough. That's what it was given. in his tone of voice. He was real smooth with it. You could tell he was a real smooth dude back in the day. But yeah, that's what it was giving. It was giving y'all hope to have my money.
Facts. And I know LP trying to be up here and be holy right now, but I know if he was trying to get out the door and said, I said, close the door, you gonna look back at the night.
I wouldn't even look back. I would just went ahead and left. I mean, you can't hold me hostage. I mean, so that's why I'm saying, like, people, I've left church even in this day and age now, where they are saying, hey, we need 20 people to come up here to give $100. I I'm not one of the 20 people. I get up, me and my kids, we have to know. And if somebody say, hey, hold them doors, I'm saying, man, we about to go. That's what I tell the ushers. Hey, we about to go. And they let us out. So I don't even think the ushers were trying to hold. I don't know if they were. I was gonna say I don't think the ushers were trying to tell people, hey, you gotta turn back around, go up there. I think that they still were letting people leave. I think, like I said, it was his verbiage that got the traction because we didn't hear nobody. I don't know if anybody came out and said, hey, the usher told me go sit back down or this and that. I think it's more of his comments that has everybody in an uproar. Him reiterating, hey, I said close the door. I think that's what really got everybody upset. And like I said, he used a poor choice of words, and I think he learned from that. And I don't think he's gonna do it again. Now, going back up there, sing us and have us laid out singing hallelujah and crying with your good singing and your good gospel.
Well, guys, that was my topic. Like I said, Marvis Sapp is a great pastor. He's a great vocalist. He's a great artist. All that good stuff. But just tighten up, my boy. Tighten up. Don't do it no more.
Well, I think that's all we got for today, y'all. Once again, we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us again. We're finally back after a little hiatus we took. We want to say we miss y'all. We're gonna try to hang in there and get our stuff going back like we was before, getting dropping weekly. Once again, if you do want to listen to us now, we are on all the big three platforms. We are on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So please check in with us and listen to us on all three major platforms. And then keep writing notes to us. We need some more fan mail. We got some fan mail we need to get to so we can get to y'all, so we can really talk to y'all some more and interact with y'all guys.